I think I wanted to share this with you. There's this trend going on, and it's from this one girl at the core. What unserious generational curse are you breaking? And they said, I throw away stained Tupperware and we open more than one box of cereal at a time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I used to hate that.
It's smart. I thought this core of the video, this response was interesting. I wanted to know what you thought about it.
What unserious generational curse are you breaking?
I am a product of somebody who broke a generational curse, so please, please, please genuinely do it. My dad would not.
I wonder, what if the curse was not wearing tacky scarves?
An ascot?
Ascot. It's nice. I'm just jumbling. I'm just being a goose.
Not allow people to talk about my body. Ever, not once, not my parents, not my body. If there was a pimple, no. He would not allow anybody in my family, which, you know, is a very, very common thing to talk about, like, oh, are you gaining weight, losing weight? If he would hear that, he would confront somebody so fast. My memory of people talking about my body is more about my dad confronting people and telling them to shut up.
She censored herself.
So please break these curses, because I have to say, like, I think I look great. I've never worried about going to a...
She looks certainly much better than all the people bullying fat people on that group we just did on the last segment. Those people that are bullying the fat people were weirdly like, I'm traumatized. They can make a group about them.
family functioning and hearing anything like that, because
Bullying is bad.
I know my dad.
So I thought this was just interesting.
Yeah.
And I came from a family. I got a family of chop busters. Okay, and I love my family, but I remember for a long time they would make fun of me for how I looked, and it wasn't personal. They did it to everybody. But
I was gonna say that's just a thing that people say to kids.
It's just a thing. Like, oh, like when I was getting older in my teenage years, it's like, oh, you know, you used to be such a cute baby. What happened? Or like, does your face hurt? Because it's sure killing me.
Yeah.
But I remember, and I know that they're all jokes, but I remember, especially as a young person, feeling like, oh, that hurt. And I think it did have a negative impact on my self-confidence. And no, they didn't mean it at all. They probably happened to them, you know. And I'm like, damn, like maybe we should do this with our kid.
I like the idea of it. I had like other experiences that made me feel some type of way about my body.
Okay.
Where like there's somebody in my family who would like she would weirdly talk about me not wearing a bra when I was like 7.
Why would you need to wear a bra?
And like she would make comments because I had little titties happening.
Okay.
But I was 7.
Yeah.
And bras are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not wearing right now. And I'm 28 years old. My titties are tittying more than they were when I was 7. All right. So like she would like say stuff, but like, oh, she's not wearing blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And like, so like she was just super fucking weird. Not in like a not in like a predarizing way, but like she still talks about people like kissing. She says necking, so she's just like one of those. Yeah. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but it just sounds like a really old-fashioned conservative. Like
nobody likes her.
Oh,
so like I had that, but then also what else is interesting is that I grew, which this is different than this, but it made me feel like a way about my body. And my Grammy would, you know what? I love that bitch. I would say this to her face. She says shit about my body that makes me feel like a pile of shit.
Does she?
Yeah.
She's so accepting in general.
Oh, are you saying that like funnily?
No, your grandmother is very accepting in general.
I'm going to say this. See, this is one of these situations where I'm going to share something on the internet that I don't want to, but I'm going to share it for the story.
Okay.
If I ever express to her that my back is hurting, she'll tell me it's because it's my fat stomach pulling on it.
Well,
a rude ass bitch.
I mean, listen, our weight does have an impact on our body. She's saying it out of love. You know?
Anyways, I also grew up with the men in my family, like always talking about women that they found attractive.
Yeah.
And I just always knew that I wasn't that.
That's so
You
interesting.
know?
I didn't think about that because, like, that's an older. When I was at the bus company, there were some younger guys and some older guys. The older guys would always talk about women in like a weird way. We didn't really talk about women that much. Like we did, but it wasn't like objectifying. We are like, oh, this girl's cute. This girl's not bad.
You're saying at the bus company? I was gonna say your family, because all your family are like long time married.
Oh,
men.
they don't talk about women at all, and they don't disrespect women at all in our family. In fact, they don't make jokes about ugly kids if they're women. It's only for boys.
It's a boy thing.
So sexist. They're half right though. But like older guys, they're so brazen about it. Like I told you, one of the guys that we used to work used to like follow girls to their cars when they weren't interested in, that were like, teenagers. Some of them, he didn't know that they were that young, but he's like not. He was a fucking creep.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it's just so uncomfortable. I didn't think about that though, the way that it could have an impact when you talk about, like, you overhear, especially as a woman, because I know that because girls have different experiences with their bodies than men. Usually they're held to higher beauty standards than guys are. I didn't think about like the impact that could have on a girl. So I'm definitely not going to do that. I'm not going to talk about women's bodies around my.
But that's the thing, though. The way that you would talk about women's bodies would probably almost like affirm, because you like big, fat, hairy women. So like if I was little, I would be like, oh, maybe somebody would love me one day. But for me as a child, it was like, oh, I'm never gonna be
blonde, fake
like
tits.
this skinny with blonde hair and big tits.
Yeah, big fake tits.
Yeah,
like bimbo looking girls. That's wild. I also have another thing though. It's like, is there an acceptable level, for lack of a better term, of bullying that a kid needs to experience? And I only say that as this. I'm 32 now. 33. I'm fucking 33, bro. Damn. I'm an adult, and I feel like I have a relatively thick skin. Like, people can make jokes or comments about me and my body and I just don't care anymore. And I feel like if I had been protected as a young person, would that have made me less able to handle it now?
I don't think that it's protection as much as positive affirmation. And I'm assuming about this situation, but this girl, if her dad was to go as far as to like cut things off the moment he said it, it sounds like he also just like had a positive environment for her as well.
Okay. Well, I guess you just learned to cope differently. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess like instead of like, oh, whatever, because my perspective, I guess, are both of ours, like, you can't say anything to me that I haven't said to myself, right?
Yeah, and like I was gonna say that, like, because you said like people don't hurt you. No, I got my feelings hurt constantly. Like when people like make fun of me, or like when we last made videos and like we were like just really involved in a drama situation, and people started just making fun of my weight, and there was that other like piece of shit that like looked at our wedding pictures. That made me feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like over feeling that way, and that's okay, because it's not right to talk to somebody and make fun of them, especially like that. It's like a stupid saying, but like if a person can't change it in 5 minutes, you don't talk about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like I still get my feelings hurt now. Nobody will ever, and this is not a challenge, but nobody will ever say anything worse than what I've already said to myself.
Yeah,
that is 100% true.
Yeah,
but getting made fun of makes me feel bad.
Yeah,
I don't like when people make fun of me for being fat and stuff like that.
Me neither, I guess. I don't care as much, but I understand what you're saying. But I guess I don't like it either. But I guess instead of having the coping mechanism of like, oh, I've said worse to myself, it'd be the coping mechanism of like, oh no, I love myself.
Yeah, like, no, like like it's okay that I have this, or it's okay that I don't have that.
People used to make fun of me for having such a big dick. I'm so self-conscious.
You're so stupid.
I'm just kidding. I have a tiny penis. Okay. Well, I just thought that was an interesting conversation. I want to be a decent dad. I'm gonna be a pretty good dad.
I like this trend because I've seen like other videos, like people are like, my thing that I'm gonna break is that we always have McDonald's money. Like if you want to eat out, I worked all day. Like I don't want to cook either, and I think stuff like that is funny. That cereal box thing is funny because I remember being little and wanting to open like the second box of cereal that's better, and like not being allowed to.
Yeah, that one's fair though because it's like a money thing. You don't want to go to waste.
And like,
I guess that's why people put their cereal into cereal containers so they don't go bad.
Yeah. And I've been thinking a lot, I'm not going to talk about them here, but I've been thinking a lot to myself about like what like I want to do different from how I was raised, and like having like the knowledge of how my mom was raised, what I want to do different there.
Yeah.
I don't think my dad's side really plays a part into that.
The biggest generational thing I want to break is I want our kid to have a dad. It's not a generational thing. My
For real. No, I think that well, I don't know about your family, but I think for my family that is generational.
You think so? Like absentee fathers?
I mean, I
Or
could go back
fathers.
1, 2, 3 generations that I know of.
Really? Even your...
Just because there's a father figure present doesn't mean that they're
Oh,
like
that's
a
fair.
good father.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know, like I want
okay.
my children's father to be a father.
Fair enough. Okay.
You know?
Not just like an abuse machine.
Yeah, and I don't want our kids. We're gonna fuck up our kids, and I'm gonna do shit that they're gonna hate me for something.
They're
You
not gonna
know?
hate you.
But I don't want them to like have like a negative perception of who either of us are.
No. Oh, well, everyone's gonna make mistakes, but we're not gonna like be absent. I hear what you're saying. Okay.
And I think the two biggest things that aren't really like generational to my family, but I think just like a societal thing that I really want to talk to our kids about and find the best way to do it is going to be about food, about physical fitness,
Mhm.
and about like I guess it goes into health, but like sexual health and consent.
Yeah.
I want to find the best ways to start educating our children on that in age appropriate ways, like as soon as possible. Because the way that we were taught, and again, not just by our parents, but like societally, like in schools, it was not conducive. Is that the word?
Yeah, I think that's the right word.
Like you could teach children in appropriate ways. I don't want our kids to be traumatized by accident.
Like sexually.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like when they do their first sexual experience, have like a horrific experience.
Yeah.
No, I mean I agree. Like I said, when I first started jerking off when I was like a kid, the first time I did it, I was so upset I didn't do it for 6 months because I didn't know what happened to my body after I finished. And like just basic sexual health education. I know that like there's some people conservatives like, oh my God, you can't tell a 12-year-old that they get erect. It's like, well, you know, you don't have to do it in a way that encourages anything. You just have to be like, hey, this is what's going to happen to your body. It's scary. It's like a period. Hey, this is going to happen to your body. It's scary.
That's the thing too, and I've been thinking about that while we've been going through the process of trying to get pregnant. Is that like I was taught that like if you see a penis in person, like you're gonna get pregnant. And bitch, if it was only that easy. You know? And like that's because of a lack of health education.
Yeah. Well, it was like scare tactics. Like you're going to get an STD, you're going to get a girl pregnant, you're going to die if you fucking, and it's like, okay, chill. So, but yeah, I want to do good for our kids. Our kids are going to be mature enough to learn about their bodies. Like it shouldn't be a debatable thing. Like our kids learning about their fucking bodies, you know. Again, people who are so against like comprehensive sexual health education, especially that's consent driven, because that needs to be a big thing, you know, because you got to teach kids young. I mean, like even I guess with hugs, I mean maybe, you know, that's the thing too. You just start them young.
Yeah. And I think it really is just like teaching our children about their bodies, health wise, sexual wise, food wise, coping skill wise. I was just talking to my mom about this because my mom has I'm fucking putting her on blast.
Okay.
She's been smoking.
Yeah.
And she like I think yesterday, what the hell is that? Is someone calling us? I think yesterday was literally like the first day she like quit smoking again. And like I had no problem quitting smoking.
Yeah.
I really have not had any problems. I've had problems controlling my diet though.
Same.
I don't have any other coping skill except for ones that are harmful, really.
I think most people do because the harmful ones make you feel better.
Exactly. And I think that food is the one that's ignored. And like especially, and that's a habit that starts when you're young.
Yeah, because like you're going your first 18 years, you know, you're being taught how to eat and stuff. So, you know, for me, again, like I wasn't taught anything extravagant, but then we're also in the generation of people who aren't moving as much because of technology. And that's like a big killer more than anything else, is just not moving. You're going to be healthier moving around and eating too much than just eating too much. It's just a fact. You shouldn't be eating too much, but still. And we removed such a big aspect from the equation. It's not just fast food. It's also slow movement, you know? It's the goddamn video games. But when people complain, like, the video games are too violent, like, stop worrying about the violence of the video games and start worrying about your kid not fucking moving around because of the video games.
Yeah.
You know? So.
But yeah, so that's what I hope to do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
As a parent.
I agree with that.